Okay. Hello? Here's my audience member. Get this up. Unable to perceive the shape of you, I can feel you all around me. This is a quote from the 2017 movie The Shape of Water, written and directed by Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro is famous for other works such as Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy, and he is a very eclectic director. His movie film history is very diverse, and the people who follow him understand The Shape of Water to be a sort of penultimate film. It's very much a pinnacle, as it takes from a lot of his previous films and kind of combines into one, this sort of masterpiece. So, in the beginning of the film, we start with a character named Eliza, who is our main character. The most interesting thing about Eliza is that she is a mute character, so she cannot speak. She can only communicate through sign language. For most people, the idea of having your main character be a mute, I think that kind of sounds off-putting because it sounds like that could be very tense. Your character is constantly in positions where people can't understand her and vice versa, and that's exactly the point. Because Del Toro definitely uses that characteristic about her to build tension in the film. Through the film, we see her progression as she's working at this government laboratory. And in this laboratory, she comes across what the government is holding, and it seems to be this amphibian humanoid creature. She develops an interest in this creature, and they actually build a relationship throughout the film. Towards the end of the film, we see her and this creature's relationship sort of come to a halt, but ultimately she is made better because of it, and it does contribute to her ending. The importance of having a voiceless character, in my opinion, is that throughout the movie we have all different types of characters, a lot of sub-characters, and those characters all have their own sort of adversities, their own sort of voicelessness, whether it's being a mute or being a government worker or being a gay man. There is this sort of idea of suppression that is kind of shared with the characters, and that is something that is kind of a moral of the story, to my opinion. One of the best things about this film, and really all of Del Toro's films, is the cinematography. Specifically in The Shape of Water, Del Toro, while the setting is in the 60s during the Cold War, Del Toro uses the extravagant colors along with his very gloomy lighting to give us this fictionalized kind of fanatical world. The way in which he builds the movie with the cinematography, in my opinion, gives him the credibility, gives the story the credibility, so that when you're watching it, you don't really sit there and question this creature's existence, even though it's bizarre, because you feel like you are immersed in this world. You feel like you are, through the cinematography, it just paints this sort of fantasy type world that this creature would make sense in to live. Towards the ending, we get this. I think what is very significant to the film is that there is a happy ending, right? And the happy ending is not. It's kind of a cliche. The man and the woman wind up being together. They go off and live happily ever after. To me, that is significant, and it makes the film significant in that you just watched this entirely bizarre film, and now there's this sort of cliche happy ending that you would find in like a Disney movie. And to me, while to me that just gave the film a certain significance. The film itself, though, is the definition of atypical. It's just not a typical film. The film is borderline about a person having a sexual relationship with a animal type creature. So that alone is a reason to call it atypical, but it's also on a less surface level, it's atypical in that it's very much a cross genre movie that you don't normally see. mainly being that it's a sci-fi, a drama, and a romance. And the way that it's built together is just not like you would see in a regular formatted movie. Overall, through my analysis from the study of the character that is Eliza and the understanding of her, and especially with Del Toro's cinematography and the use of cinematography, I think that it is what makes this film so great, and it is a film that I absolutely loved and would recommend to people. I would not recommend it to anyone, though. I think that not just for content alone, but the movie itself is very much an artsy film, so I think that some people just wouldn't be receptive to it as others, but for me, I actually really loved the film, and I would recommend it to select people. So, thank you. Okay, well, okay. Okay.